Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters in the religion of Islam, before we proceed in producing our Tafsir series, I would like to add this video to its introduction. Let this be the part 3 of the introduction. And here I will discuss the miraculous incidents of the Holy Qur'an and its intercession during the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and during the time of some other people that we know in history, during the time from, let's say, my grandfather. It's very fortunate for a man to see his grandfather here alive, both sides, both the maternal and paternal. And I will discuss with you in this video, by the grace of God, the miraculous incidents of the Holy Qur'an that I have seen from the two of them, and also from my own experiences, because this is the best way of teaching something. If you want to know something, experience it yourself, and you should not be the first person to experience it. Let it be something that is linked with previous generations, from the time of the Prophet, our companions, the Ahl al-Bayt, the generations before us, if possible your parents, your grandparents, and then down to you. Now we know that you have a chain that you are coming from, that you are not just an island. No, you are a continuation of what has been coming from source. Sayyidina Hassan, the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, fell ill one day in his lifetime. Very serious healing. This is narrated in Riyadh Tafsir of Maulana Shaykh al-Islam Al-Haji Shaykh Ibrahim Niyas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in his explanation of Surah Al-Fatiha. For he himself quoted this from a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. This is Allah now teaching the Prophet how to use the Quran to heal or to intercede for his grandson. The same way the Prophet will intercede for his nation. Both in this life, the intercession of the Quran, that of the Prophet, is felt from this life, even in our graves, or even on the day of judgment, and even in Allah's presence. This is something that is a reality. Sayyidina Hassan fell sick, and all the medical doctors, everything they could do, the human intercession, did not work. So the Prophet became worried, and anytime the heart of the Prophet is moved, a revelation must have to come down to cool his heart. To cool his heart. وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ سَكِينَةً. The sakina of the Prophet is ru'ya. Wahi. So Jibril came down, alayhi salam, Abdullah Jibril. Another name for the angel of revelation is Abdullah. Jibril is a Hebrew word. Its translation in Arabic is Abdullah, that is the servant of Allah. Jibril came down, alayhi salam, say, Ya Rasulullah, alayka salatu wassalam, Allah sent me down to you. Allah sent me to tell you to recite that particular surah of the Holy Qur'an that has no alphabet of al-fa'u. Fa'u, the Arabic alphabet of F, that is al-fa'u. You will have to locate which surah it is in the Holy Qur'an that has no fa'u in it. Recite that surah 42 times in water. Blew it into ordinary water and give it to your grandson to drink, and let him and wash him with it. He is going to be healed by the grace of Allah, through you, the messenger, and then through the Quran that Allah has revealed through you to this nation. And the Prophet immediately could discover Surah Al-Fatiha, from Bismillah Rahman Rahim down to Wal Dhalin Amin. There is no alphabet of Fa'un, F, in it. So he recited Surah Al-Fatiha 42 times. Immediately he blew it into the water, and he gave it to Sayyidina Hassan to drink, and to wash himself with it. And as soon as Sayyidina Hassan does that, Sayyidina Hassan alayhi salam was healed completely. And that is why the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam named Surah Al-Fatiha Ash-Shifa'u li kulli da'i ila sami. Al-Fatiha is the healing for every form of sickness. The Prophet named it. Al-Fatiha has various names. We are going to discuss that in our Tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha. There are 55 names that are recorded for Surah Al-Fatiha based on some incident that occurred, and Surah Al-Fatiha interceded during the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ. And this was how Fatiha was named as Al-Shifa, that is the healer. Surah Al-Fatiha is a doctor. Imam Muhammad al-Bakir alayhi salam used to use Surah Al-Fatiha as a testing machine to see if this servant is going to be healed or he will never going to be healed again. He said, whoever Fatiha cannot heal, there will be no any medicine for such person again till his death. He will never be healed from that sickness again. In fact, he even narrated in his own narrations that if you recite Surah Al-Fatiha 71 times on a dead body, do not be surprised if that dead body moves or comes back to life. Don't be surprised, because Al-Fatiha has the power to bring back the dead to life. Surah Al-Fatiha has that power, but not you and not me, but Surah Al-Fatiha. And if you have the faith, the taqwa, and you have tasted the sweetness of the recitation of the Holy Qur'an, if you recite Surah Al-Fatiha 71 times, you can bring back the dead. Bi-iznillah, bi-iznillah, bi-iznillah. Nothing is possible illa bi-iznillah. This is a very famous narration during the time of the Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. There was also another incident. The Sahaba were traveling, and so they camped in a village. So they seek for shelter in that village, but the people of that village rejected them. So they left. After they have gone, the village head of that village got struck by a snake. So immediately these people now say, maybe this is an omen, because they have rejected those people. Let us run and one talk to them. If there's anyone amongst them that can recite ruqya or any form of healing for their chief, if they save their chief, they will grant them shelter. And those Sahabas, none of them could perform any form of ruqya, none of them understood medicine. So one of them took the bold step and said, yes, I can heal your chief. Then immediately they called him and he followed them. He said, what can you do? He said, just leave me, let me go. And when he went there, he recited Surah Al-Fatiha, and immediately this chief recovered. He was healed from snake poison. Fatiha could heal a snake poison. And so this man granted them shelter, and he gave them 12 camels and some horses and a lot of ganima. So the Sahabas now asked this particular one, what did you do? He said, I recited Surah Al-Fatiha, and the man got healed. So do not touch any of these things they gave you as gift. Let us go to the Prophet ﷺ. And by reaching, when they got to the Prophet said, how did you understand Fatiha could be used as ruqya? And that was where Fatiha won another name as a ruqya. Surah, that is a ruqya. Fatiha itself is a ruqya. Fatiha can set you free from anything, any foreign thing that possesses your body, whether it is healing, sickness, or a shayateen. Surah Al-Fatiha can set you free. So the Prophet ﷺ named Fatiha as a ruqya again because of this incident, and he took his humus out of this ganima that was given to the Sahaba, and he allowed them to distribute the remaining among themselves. This is a Quranic intercession in the life in our lives. There was also another incident. The king of Persia, during the time of Sayyidina Umar, he wrote a letter that he is suffering from a severe headache. If there is anything Umar can help him with, this is also narrated in the Tafsir of Mawlana Shawul Islam Al-Hajj Ibrahim Iyas radiallahu ta'ala anhu. If there is any form of healing that Sayyidina Umar could help him with, he will be grateful. Let him help him. He is in need of help. So Sayyidina Umar now wrote Bismillah Rahman Rahim into a cap in his turban and sent it to him as gift that he should be wearing that cap. So anytime this man puts on that cap, he gets relieved from his headache. But anytime he removes that cap, this headache comes back. So he now says, what is happening? What is written in this cap that anytime he puts it on his head, he gets relieved? They discovered it was written Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This was Umar writing the word of Allah in his cap and giving it to an unbeliever as a gift. And this word, Bismillah Rahman Rahim, interceded for this unbeliever from his headache. The Quran is a blessing for the entire creation, so long you are alive. But if you die without believing in the Quran, then such a person will not benefit from the Quran on the day of judgment. But here in life, if you are still alive, whether you are a Muslim or a Christian, you can benefit from the blessings of the Holy Quran. Like this case of Sayyidina Umar, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. These are the cases, and this is why you and I should dedicate ourselves to the Holy Quran. We always concentrate on the courses we are reading in the universities, as if that is the Quran that Allah has revealed to His Prophet. That is not the Quran. That is just the way of the dunya, which is not haram. But you should not dedicate to that more than the way you dedicate to the Holy Quran. When you dedicate to the Holy Quran, not just by memorizing it, but by studying it. There are people who studied the Quran in details without not even memorizing it, but they study it in details. But there are those that also memorize it. There are those that could memorize and could study it at the same time. Anyone that Allah grants you is better you turn yourself to the Quran. In another incident during the lifetime of my grandfather, he was my paternal grandfather, the father of my mother. He was a principal here in Nupeland, in a village known as Gaba. He was a school head teacher, and so he had problem with one of the sons of the village head, and he punished that son. So the village head became angry, and he wanted to cause problem to our grandfather using spiritual powers, magic, and the rest. And so my mom happens to be the victim because she was the only child available at that time. So this village head